Ofsted inspections, potential misconceptions about inspection. Ofsted do not expect leaders to produce written evidence to support each standard in each evaluation area. The toolkit focuses on the quality and impact of leaders' choices and decisions on children rather than compliance alone. It is used to guide conversations, reflect on evidence, and make sure grades reflect the evidence gathered. It supports a shared understanding and discussion of the strengths of the setting's work, its context, and areas for further exploration. Ofsted do not expect providers to have completed any formal self-evaluation using the toolkit. However, settings may wish to use the toolkit to support continuous improvement. In the planning call with leaders, Ofsted will ask where they see themselves against the 5-point scale of each evaluation area. The toolkit applies to all types of setting, including childminders. The inspector uses it in a way that is suitable for each type of provider. Curriculum. The EYFS statutory framework sets out the requirements that schools and childcare settings must meet for the learning, development, and care of children from birth to 5 years. Inspection is aligned with these principles and requirements. Ofsted do not have any additional or separate rules. Ofsted evaluate settings that take radically different approaches to the curriculum fairly. Inspectors evaluate curriculums favourably if they have been built or adopted with appropriate coverage, content, structure, and sequencing, and implemented effectively. Inspectors consider the extent to which the curriculum reflects the breadth and ambition of the EYFS. Inspectors do not look unfavourably on settings that use curriculums created by others, for example, commercial or local schemes. They consider how inclusive the curriculum, culture, and practices are. This is the case whether the setting has devised its own curriculum or uses, for example, commercial or local schemes or programs. It is up to leaders to determine the setting's practices and justify these on their own merits. Planning, teaching, and assessment. Ofsted do not prefer any particular method of planning, teaching, or assessment. Ofsted do not expect a specific format for curriculum planning. Ofsted do not grade individual staff or activities. Ofsted do not evaluate planning, teaching, and assessment in out-of-school settings. Safeguarding. Ofsted's safeguarding expectations are those the DfE has set out in the EYFS, keeping children safe in education, and working together to safeguard children. Ofsted do not expect or require the setting to apply retrospectively for DBS checks and other pre-employment checks for staff who were appointed before DBS requirements were introduced and who have been employed continuously since then. Evidence and recordings. Ofsted do not require photographic evidence of what children are doing and learning in settings. Ofsted do not expect providers to prepare a presentation or any additional documentation about their setting or context for inspection. Inspectors prioritise examining first-hand evidence during the inspection. Artificial intelligence. A setting's use of artificial intelligence, AI, is not an explicit part of Ofsted's inspection and regulation frameworks. There is no expectation that a setting will use AI in a certain way or will use it at all. Inspectors do not directly evaluate the use of AI or any AI tool. Ofsted's focus is instead on the quality of decision-making about AI. Complaints about the provider from parents. The EYFS explains what providers must put in place to deal with concerns and complaints from parents. If Ofsted receive concerns or complaints about the setting, the inspection will focus on the wider issues raised by the complaints, what the setting has done in response, and the impact this has had on children. Inspectors do not investigate individual complaints. If a complainant has asked for confidentiality, Inspectors will do everything they can to protect their identity and ensure it is not shared with the setting. Sometimes, the nature of the complaint may make it possible for the setting's leaders to identify the complainant. However, inspectors must not confirm who the complainant is. Head over to our dedicated resource page for more information about Ofsted's renewed approach to education inspections.